This is an educational video which will provide actual events of police assassinations here in the United States. This video will also pose questions presented to the viewers in reference to race and IQ. If discussing race, IQ, politics, and/or the assassinations of police officers upset you in any form, please avoid watching this video. This video is not intended to harass, bully, or spread hate of any kind. Everything stated in this video is based upon facts with citations and sources provided in the description box. Hey everybody, what's up fam? This is Tree from treeoflogic.com. On July the 5th, which was about 2 weeks ago, Officer Miosotis Familia was sitting in her squad car filling out paperwork when Alexander Bond quietly crept up to her car and shot her in the head. Bond was on parole for robbery and served 7 out of 8 years of his sentence. Prior to that, he had been convicted and served time in jail for beating up a police officer with brass knuckles. Bond was shot dead after fleeing the scene by 2 responding officers. This all happened in Bronx, New York. On Tuesday morning, July the 11th, as thousands of police officers gathered for Officer Familia's funeral held at World's Changes Baptist Church, Julian Rodriguez opened the window to his bedroom and blast NWA's anti-cop anthem called "Fuck the Police." Around 20 police officers entered the apartment building where Rodriguez was staying, banged on the door, demanding that he open it, but he refused. So he continued to blast that song out of his bedroom window as friends, colleagues, family members, and even children gathered to pay their respect to this beautiful police officer who was viciously assassinated by a black male ex-con who hated cops. Now, luckily, the landlord of the building came to the rescue. He opened the door to the apartment and made Rodriguez turn off his speakers, which was blaring out the obscene and hateful song against the police. Rodriguez said that he only played this song during Officer Familia's funeral because his brother and friend were killed by cops. After further investigation, it was discovered that this was a lie, and there is no police records of any deaths of the 2 people Rodriguez claimed were killed by police officers. As many of you know, I am a former police officer, and I don't like hearing about innocent police officers getting killed just for wearing the uniform. But it's important to me that we recognize a pattern between police officers and minorities, particularly black people here in America. Now, unlike the left, we here on the right don't ignore science, statistics, and facts. So I ask you, my fellow conservatives, since we know that there is a correlation between low IQ and violence, I'm going to talk about several other police assassinations that have occurred here in the United States. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to ask you a few questions that I want you to answer in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's begin. Officer Wenjian Liu and Rafael Ramos were both sitting in their marked squad car on a Brooklyn street corner in New York City when Ismaailyl Brinsley approached the squad car and shot both officers point blank in the head before fleeing. He later killed himself on a subway platform when local police officers closed in. 3 hours before killing these innocent police officers, Brinsley posted a picture of a silver handgun on his Instagram account with the following words: "I'm putting wings on pigs today. They take one of ours. Let's take 2 of theirs. Hashtag shoot the police. Hashtag RIP Irv Gardner. Hashtag RIP Mike Brown. This may be my final post. I'm putting pigs in a blanket. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a TYT fan and black separatist, Gavin Long, arrived at a Be Quick convenience store around 9 a.m. armed with two 5.56 caliber rifles and a 9mm handgun. He was there specifically looking for police officers to kill. Citizens reported the gunman to the Baton Rouge Police Department, and when officers arrived on the scene in their squad cars, Gavin Long opened fire on all of them, killing 2 police officers and 1 deputy sheriff, along with injuring 3 others. Officer Montrell Jackson, Officer Matthew Gerald, and Deputy Sheriff Brad Garafola were all killed at the scene. Long was also killed at the scene after the shootout with local authorities. I'm going to leave a link in the description box to a very good video created by YouTuber AIU, who did a detailed explanation of Gavin Long's hatred for cops, which was fueled by the liberal, race-baiting, police-hating network known as the Young Turks. I highly recommend that you watch this video, and you'll find the link in the description box. Next, we have Philadelphia Police Sergeant Sylvia Young, who was sitting in her squad car talking on her cell phone when Nicolas Glenn quietly walked up to her and fired 15 rounds into her squad car, hitting the police officer 8 times. Luckily, Sergeant Young survived the shooting, thanks to her bulletproof vest. After shooting into Sergeant Young's squad car, Glenn shot into a bar, striking a security guard, and then he used a woman as a human shield before shooting her too. He then ran down the street into an alley where he and responding officers exchanged gunfire. Nicolas Glenn was shot and killed at the scene. After the shootout, officers found a letter from the gunman that contained ramblings about his hatred for cops and named a specific parole officer as a target to kill. And last but not least, the killings that prompted me to start this YouTube channel, the Dallas police shootings. 2 weeks ago marked the 1-year anniversary of the assassination of 5 white police officers who were protecting minorities participating in a Black Lives Matter protest. On July 7th, 2016, a supporter of the New Black Panther Party, which is a racist black militant group which advocates the killing of white people, positioned himself on top of a building with a rifle and a handgun, wearing a bulletproof vest. Before the shootings, Micha Xavier Johnson stated that he was upset with white people and wanted to kill them, especially white police officers. So as he aimed his scoped rifle down towards the crowd, he shot and killed 5 white police officers who were assisting the participants of the Black Lives Matter protest. The officers killed were Officer Lauren Aarons, Officer Michael Croyle, Officer Michael J. Smith, Officer Brent Thompson, and Officer Patrick Zamarripa. After this racist assassin finished killing 5 innocent white police officers, he ran to the 2nd floor of a parking garage. He told negotiators that he had no intentions of being taken alive. The end is coming, and he intended to kill more cops because he had bombs placed throughout the garage. After hours of negotiating, Johnson grew tired of the verbal communication he was having with the negotiator and resorted back to gunfire. That's when Chief Brown realized that this was putting his officers at the scene in jeopardy of getting killed. So he ordered all of them to evacuate the area and had SWAT send a bomb robot with a device on its extension to detonate and kill the racist assassin. When Johnson was taken out, no bombs went off in the building and no more innocent police officers were killed. Now, of course, conservatives like you and I hold black people accountable for their actions. We're not liberals who have low expectations of black people or make excuses for their violent behavior. So as far as we're concerned, using SWAT tactics like this seems reasonable to us. But guess who had a problem with this? Sargon of Akkad. He said that our American police officers do not have the right to protect their lives at all costs or minimize the risk as they see fit. He had the nerve to equate the killing of a racist black assassin like Micha Xavier Johnson to cops establishing a totalitarian police state.
And don't get me wrong, I understand that the officers are going to make the argument that, well, we've got the right to protect our lives at all costs and minimise the risks as much as we see fit. Well, no, you don't, actually. Because if that's the case, you may as well lock everyone up in a giant prison compound and prevent them from having any freedom whatsoever.
Sargon hates the American police so much that he feels that the Dallas police officers should put a racist black assassin like Micha Xavier Johnson's life before their own.
We don't have to protect the officers first. I'm sorry. I don't want the officers' safety to be ignored, but it's not the most important thing in this situation.
Of course not, Sargon. The lives of innocent white police officers are not the most important thing in this situation. What's important to you is preserving the life of a racist black man who hated white people so much that he killed as many as he could who were wearing a blue uniform. After all, who cares about the lives of white police officers when compared to the lives of racist black criminals, right?
And I genuinely think that setting the precedent that killing citizens without due process using a drone or something approximating as much is a dangerous precedent that you really want to make sure doesn't happen again. This should be where you say no. Police officers will not murder the public with drones, even no matter how much they think it's justified. No matter how justified it looks, that is not an option.
Do you see how arrogant this is, fam? This white man doesn't even live in America. And from my understanding, he only visits this country once. He lives in a very upscale white neighborhood in the UK outside the perimeter of London. He doesn't have to worry about being beaten and or killed for being white by low IQ blacks. Yet and still, he feels the need to be virtuous to all his liberal minions by telling them that the police killing a racist black man like Micha Johnson is similar to murdering the public. He said that taking out a heartless murderer like Johnson is never justified under any circumstances and is never an option. So Sargon, even though American politicians, military, and police experts nationwide agreed that using a robot bomb to kill Micha Johnson was reasonable, you, as a white British man, feel the need to tell your subscribers that the actions by the Dallas police officers were wrong? How white guilt of you. For those of you who don't know, Sargon is the leader of the skeptic community, the very community who got butthurt when Rage made her video about race realism. You see, these lefties, hashtag not all, hashtag most. These lefties have very low expectations of black people because, well, they think black people are inferior to them. So they downplay or simply ignore their savage behavior when encountering law enforcement officers. This is why they make excuses for racist criminals like Micha Johnson, because they don't want the blacks on the Democratic plantation to be angry with them. This is also the reason why the left don't want to discuss facts, statistics, or scientific studies related to minorities here in America. It's acceptable to admit that blacks are genetically stronger, dominate in sports such as basketball, football, or boxing, and that the men have bigger penises. But to say that blacks in America on average have lower IQs than whites, damn it, that's taking it too damn far. So let's have a discussion about it here on my YouTube channel. In the comments section, I want you to guess the IQ of each criminal discussed in this video, including the antagonist, Julian Rodriguez. After guessing their IQ, I want you to explain to me why you came up with that number. And lastly, if you could turn back the hands of time, what steps should have been taken to make these men law-abiding citizens who will not only respect the police, but will also be an asset to our country? Leave your answers below in the comments section. I look forward to reading them. This is Tree from treeoflogic.com. If you're new to my channel and you like this video, please subscribe. And just so you know, due to YouTube's monetization rules, my AdSense application was denied twice last year, so I don't have any ads on my videos for this particular channel. Therefore, if you would like to make a one-time donation or sign up for a monthly donation, you can do so by clicking on the donation link listed in the description box below or at the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later, taters.